All right, let's dive in. We're looking at Uniview's OwlView, this Wise-ISP night view technology they've got.
Oh yeah, they're 5th generation night vision cameras. Heard some buzz about these.
Yeah, and you sent over a ton of, well, articles, reviews, even some test footage. It's a lot to unpack.
Seems like they're going pretty hard on the marketing, claiming it's a game changer.
That's where we come in.
Right?
Sorting the hype from the reality,
Right.
figuring out if this is worth your attention.
Exactly. Gotta cut through the noise.
So first impression from the stuff you sent, what jumped out at you?
Honestly, that footage from the Montreal Botanical Garden, I mean, it's 99HT.
Right, but it looks like, I don't know, someone just turned on all the lights, like daylight.
It's crazy. So the question is, how are they doing this? Better sensors, lenses, what's the secret?
Well, they do mention an f1.0 aperture, which, for anyone who knows cameras, that's impressive on its own.
Yeah, but they're not just focusing on hardware this time. Older generations were all about bigger sensors, better lenses.
So what's the new angle?
Software, they're really leaning into it. This Wise-ISP thing they've got, it's AI-driven, using a massive image model to process everything.
So it's not just amplifying the little light there is, it's like creating an image from almost nothing.
Exactly, using algorithms, taking whatever light exists, and basically constructing a full color image,
Yeah.
way beyond your typical night vision.
Like those green, grainy things. Now, this is different. Okay, so that's impressive, but how does it compare? You said we have footage of the competition.
Yeah, we've got 2 others. One using similar nighttime color tech, the other's infrared.
Classic infrared. Okay, so lay it on me. What are the big differences we're seeing?
So first off, the OwlView, it's got a lower lux value. That's a measure of light sensitivity, basically. Lower means better in the dark.
So when it's really dark, that's where OwlView shines.
Big time. The other color camera, not even close. Then there's the infrared. Now this one, higher resolution, actually.
Oh, so sharper image.
Yeah, but here's the catch. No color. And that's a problem if you need to see details.
Right, like if you're using this for security, blurry figure is no good. You need to know, was that a red jacket? Blue jeans. Makes a difference.
Huge difference. So OwlView is winning on clarity A&D color, especially in low light. But then the question becomes, what about real world stuff?
Yeah, like motion blur, things far away. How does it handle that?
Well, that's where the tests get really interesting. They did a whole bunch, and the OwlView held up remarkably well.
All right, let's break it down. What kind of tests are we talking about?
So they had a low light test, almost pitch black, and even without their smart illumination.
Which I guess adds some extra light.
Right, bit of a warm glow. But even without that, the detail was amazing. Colors clear, everything sharp.
So even if you're worried about light pollution, or maybe you're in a nature setting, you don't have to use that extra light.
Exactly, gives you options. And then there's the distance test. They zoomed in on an object way out there, still held detail, and the motion blur test. They had things moving fast.
Yeah, that's always a killer for cameras in low light.
But this one, minimal blur. Seriously impressive. It all comes back to that Wise-ISP processing, constantly analyzing, adjusting, making sure the image is sharp.
Okay, but let's get to the test everyone cares about. Can it read a license plate in the dark?
Aha, you know it. That's the make or break. And honestly, that's the footage that convinced me.
All right, what happened?
They had a reflective license plate at night, a distance away, OwlView. Captured it clearly, no problem.
And the other cameras?
Struggled, especially the one with the color night vision. Couldn't make out the details.
Wow. Okay, so that's a big deal, not just for, security at your house, but imagine investigations, hit and runs, all that.
Game changer. And on top of all that, they're also talking about ghosting reduction.
Ghosting? What's that?
So sometimes in low light footage, things get blurry, especially moving objects. They sort of have these weird trails. That's ghosting.
Ah, I think I've seen that before.
Yeah, it's the camera trying to compensate for lack of light, messing with the shutter speed. But the Wise-ISP, it's designed to minimize that.
So faces, license plates, everything's crisper, even when it's dark. That's a pretty big advantage. But come on, this all sounds expensive. Is this even realistic for, the average person?
Well, new tech, yeah, it usually starts pricey. But as it gets more common, prices tend to drop. Plus, gotta weigh the cost versus the benefit.
Right, if you really need this level of low-light performance, maybe you're securing a big property, a business, then it could be worth it.
Absolutely. You get what you pay for, as they say. But all this AI image processing, it does make you wonder about privacy.
Oh, yeah, big time. When you're dealing with AI, especially looking at images, how's that data being handled? Big question.
Definitely. Gotta be aware of that. What are they collecting? How are they storing it? Using it? Do your research, read the privacy policies. That's crucial before you buy into any smart system.
Good advice for any new tech, really. Read the fine print. But overall, it sounds like this OwlView, it's a big jump forward for night vision.
No doubt. It's not just seeing in the dark anymore, it's seeing clearly, detail, color, like we're used to in daylight. But at night,
And from the tests, the reviews, they seem to be delivering on that promise.
it's impressive.
We saw it go up against other color, night vision, infrared, and it was consistently better, especially in those super low light situations and when it came to capturing those important details, like the license plate.
All thanks to that Wise-ISP and its fancy algorithms. Like having a team of editors working on every frame in real time, making sure it looks good.
But what's cool is they haven't lost sight of flexibility. That optional warm light, it means you can adapt the system. Don't always need to blast the area with light.
Keeps things natural, doesn't disturb wildlife. It's a good balance. Best of both worlds.
High tech, but with the option for subtlety. Thinking beyond just security, though, where else could this be useful? Makes you think.
Oh, for sure. Imagine researchers studying nocturnal animals. Now they can see clearly without disturbing them. Law enforcement at night, getting evidence without huge floodlights.
It's like giving humans a superpower, right? Seeing in the dark, but with perfect vision. Crazy.
Mind-blowing stuff. Makes you wonder what's next. If this is N now W, what's 5, 10 years down the line going to look like?
Right. The future of night vision.
Yeah.
That's a whole other discussion. But for now, let's say someone's listening. They're like, okay, this OwlView sounds awesome. What should they do?
Well, first, think about what you actually need. What's the goal here? Is low light the top priority? Need to see details far away, figure that out, then see if OwlView fits.
Good point. And I'd add, do some comparison shopping. What else is out there?
Yeah.
Compare features, prices, read reviews. Don't just jump on the first shiny thing.
Exactly. Make informed choices. And remember, tech changes fast. What's amazing today might be normal tomorrow. So stay curious, keep learning.
Love that. All right, so wrapping things up, today's deep dive was all about Uniview's OwlView Wise-ISP Nightview technology, 5th-gen night vision, and it looks like their big focus is on software, AI, to get this incredible low-light performance.
Not just seeing in the dark anymore, it's seeing with clarity, detail, color like we're used to in daylight. And they seem to be pulling it off.
We saw it go head-to-head with other color night vision cameras with infrared, and it came out on top, especially when it was really dark and when it came to those important details like the license plate test.
That Wise-ISP, with its huge image model and smart algorithms, it's the key. Like having a team of digital artists working on every frame.
But what's impressed me is they didn't sacrifice flexibility for all that tech. The optional warm light, you can adjust the system, not blast everything with light if you don't want to.
Good for keeping things natural, not disturbing wildlife. It's a smart move. You get the high tech, but with options for subtlety.
Makes you think, what else could this be used for? Beyond just security, there's potential there.
Absolutely. Researchers studying animals at night, law enforcement gathering evidence. The possibilities are pretty exciting.
It's like giving us superpowers, seeing in the dark, but with perfect vision. It's almost hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, and it makes you wonder what's next. If this is what we have now, what will we have in 5 years, 10 years?
Right. The future of night vision is definitely looking bright, but we'll save that discussion for another time.
Sure. Plenty more to explore.
Well, that's it for this deep dive, but we'll be back with more, as always. Thanks for joining us.
Until next time, stay curious.
Keep exploring.
Yeah, so they ran all these tests, right? And it really held up. I mean, in the low light test, like almost pitch black, it was shocking how much detail you could see.
Still full color, I'm guessing.
Oh, yeah. Colors were great. And this was even without the smart illumination thing they've got.
Right, that adds a bit of light, doesn't it? I was wondering about that.
Yeah, a warm light. But they wanted to show it could perform even without it. And it did.
So that's good, right? If you're worried about light pollution or maybe disturbing animals if it's out in nature.
Absolutely. It gives you flexibility. But then they took it further. The distance test, they zoomed in on something way out there. I mean, way out there.
And it was still clear.
Surprisingly clear, you could still make out details. And then the motion blur test. Things moving fast, you know how usually everything gets smeared in low light?
Oh yeah, cameras hate that.
But this one, minimal blur, it's all about that Wise-ISP processing they're talking about. It's like it's constantly analyzing, adjusting.
Listing everything sharp.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Really impressive.
All right, but let's get to the real test, the one everyone wants to know. License plates.
Yeah.
Can it read a license plate in the dark? That's the question.
Haha, yeah, that's the big one, isn't it? And honestly, that's the footage that sold me. They had this reflective license plate, nighttime, some distance away.
Yeah.
OwlView. Nailed it. Clear as day.
Seriously.
No problem at all. The other cameras, though, they struggled. Big time. Especially the one with the similar color night vision.
Couldn't handle it.
Couldn't make out the details. So yeah, for security, for investigations, anything where you need to identify a vehicle.
Game changer. No doubt about it. Oh, and I remember they mentioned something about ghosting reduction. What was that about?
Right, ghosting. So sometimes in low light footage, you get these blurry spots, especially around things that are moving. They kind of have trails, like a ghost.
Ah, I think I've seen that before.
Yeah, it's the camera trying to compensate for the lack of light, but it messes with the shutter speed, creates those weird artifacts. But the Wise-ISP in this OwlView, it's designed to minimize that.
So everything's crisper, even in the dark. Faces, license plates, all that. That's a pretty big selling point, I'd say. But come on, this all sounds incredibly expensive. Is this even realistic for the average person?
Well, it's true. New tech usually starts out with a higher price tag, but you know how it goes. As it gets more common, prices tend to come down.
True. But still, got to weigh the cost versus the benefit.
Right. If you really need that level of performance in low light, maybe you're securing a large property, a business, or something like that, then it might be worth it.
I guess it depends on your needs, your budget, all that. But all this talk of AI, image processing, it does make you think about the privacy implications.
Yeah, definitely. Anytime you're dealing with AI, especially with analyzing images, you got to be aware of how that data is being handled. What are they collecting? How are they storing it, using it?
Yeah, good questions.
You got to do your research, read the privacy policies, understand what you're getting into before you buy any kind of smart system these days.
That's good advice for any new technology, really. Read the fine print. But okay, stepping back a bit, it does sound like this OwlView is a pretty impressive leap forward for night vision.
It's not just about seeing in the dark anymore, is it?
No, it's about seeing clearly. Detail, color, like we're used to in daylight, but at night.
Mm.
And from what we've seen in the tests, the reviews,
Yeah.
it seems like they're really delivering on that.
Yeah, it's a big step.
We saw it go head-to-head with other color night vision, with infrared,
Mm-hmm.
and it just consistently performed better, especially in those very low-light situations. And when it came to capturing those crucial details, like the license plate test, that was impressive.
All thanks to that Wise-ISP with its massive image model and all those smart algorithms they've developed. It's like they've got a whole team of digital artists working on every single frame in real time.
But what I like is they haven't sacrificed flexibility for all that tech. The fact that the warm light is optional, it means you can adapt the system to your needs. You don't have to blast everything with light if you don't want to.
Yeah, that's a good point. It keeps things more natural, doesn't disturb wildlife. You get the benefits of the technology, but with the option for subtlety. It's a good balance.
High tech, but you can choose to be discreet about it.
It makes you think, though, what other uses could this have? Beyond security, I mean. There's potential there, right?
Oh, absolutely. Think about researchers studying nocturnal animals. Now they can see clearly without disturbing them with bright lights. Or law enforcement gathering evidence at a crime scene at night without needing to set up big floodlights. The possibilities are pretty interesting. Yeah, it really opens up a whole new world. It's like we've given ourselves a superpower, haven't we? The ability to see in the dark, but not just see clearly. It's almost hard to wrap your head around it.
It is pretty mind-blowing. Makes you wonder, what's next? If this is what we have now, what will we have in 5, 10 years? The future of night vision is.
Yeah,
It's exciting to think about.
it is. But we'll save that for another discussion. For now, let's say someone's listening to this and they're thinking, okay, this OwlView sounds amazing, I want it. What should their next step be?
First things first, really think about what you need from a security system. I mean, what's the goal? Is it all about low light for you? Got to be able to see details far away. Figure that out first. Then you can see if this OwlView is even the right fit.
Good point.
Yeah.
And I always say, do your homework. Look around. What else is out there? Compare features, prices, see what other people are saying, read the review.
Yeah, don't just jump on the first flashy thing you see.
Oh, exactly. Make a smart choice. And hey, remember, tech moves fast. What's blowing our minds today might be totally normal in a year or two.
That's the truth. So stay curious, you know? Keep learning about this stuff.
Couldn't agree more. So, to sum it all up for everyone today, we've been deep diving into this Uniview OwlView. That's with their Wise-ISP night view technology.
Their fifth generation of these night vision cameras.
Hmm.
And yeah, they've really gone all in on the software side this time, using AI to get some crazy good low light performance.
It's not just seeing in the dark anymore. It's like
Mhm.
seeing clearly in the dark.
Yeah.
All the detail, the color, like you've got the lights on, even when it's pitch black. And from what we've seen, they're not just hyping it up. It seems to actually work.
They've got the results to back it up.
We saw it go up against other color night vision cameras,
Mm.
infrared, and it just consistently did better,
Mm.
especially when the light was super low. And for those really important details, that license plate test, that was the clincher for me.
Yeah, that was impressive. And it all comes down to that Wise ISP, that massive image model they're using, those algorithms. It's next level stuff, like having a whole team of, I don't know, digital artists just working on every single frame to make it look perfect.
But what gets me is they didn't lose sight of, practicality.
Oh.
That warm light, the fact that it's optional, that's huge. You don't have to light up the whole place if you don't want to.
Keeps things natural, doesn't bother wildlife. Good balance.
High tech, but with options. It makes you think, what else could this be used for? Not just security, but other stuff.
Oh, yeah, big time. Imagine researchers studying animals at night, but without disturbing them with bright lights. Or, I don't know, crime scenes, gathering evidence, but no need for those big floodlights. Gets the mind going.
It really does. It's like we've given ourselves this superpower, right? Perfect vision, even in the dark. Pretty amazing when you think about it.
Absolutely mind-blowing. Makes you wonder, what's next? If this is what we've got in OwlView, imagine 5, 10 years down the road.
The future of night vision. That's a whole other conversation.
Definitely a lot more to explore there.
Well, on that note, we'll have to wrap up our deep dive for today, but as always, we'll be back to keep you updated on all the latest and greatest.
That's right. Stay curious out there.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Keep exploring.